Welcome to Secret Story, I called Elaine. Hello, hey baby, you can come home now, the asshole is gone forever. I will explain it all. Come on home. As I hung up, I heard the garage door open right away that I went to the kitchen door and saw Elaine running to me. I pulled her to me and kissed her softly, holding her tight. She felt so good in my arms. I was unsure if this would ever happen again when she left yesterday that I went to her SUV and brought in her bags. My wife was home again. What had I just witnessed? Matthew and some other men were coming after Alfonso. What happened? As I went inside, my heart was beating wildly. I was not sure what was going on. Alfonso seemed calm and in control. A heck of a lot more than I was. Elaine, are you okay? Alfonso asked me. No, I'm not. What the hell just happened? I will explain, but first, welcome home, come kiss me and hug me. I was unsure we would do this again yesterday, so this is special. I went to him and held him. I always knew I would be back in his arms, but when I left Al yesterday, I could see he was not sure I would be returning. I am here, baby, and will be forever if you want me, your decision now. Okay, come sit at the table, and I will tell you what just happened. Alfonso brought over a bottle of rose wine and 2 glasses. He poured both full and started to tell me. Elaine, when you left yesterday, I was concerned that you might not return. I was so pissed at Matthew that I wanted to make him suffer even more. I had a lot of time to think and knew I needed to know more about Matthew. I looked up his website and saw many 5-star ratings, so I read them. As I went through them, I saw some first names and last initials that seemed familiar to me, and I saw that some of them were ladies that you know. I wrote down 4 of them and called them. I started with Constance. She was the one who referred Matthew to you, wasn't she? Constance told me about her affair and that she was divorced because of Matthew. Did you know that? No, I knew she was divorced, but her husband ran off with some girl he worked with. Jesus, that is crazy. Well, Elaine, Constance's husband caught her. He divorced her, then he ran off with the girl, so it happened after the divorce. After we talked, Constance was very accommodating. I called them all, spoke with them, and then to most of their husbands and ex-husbands. They all knew about Matthew and their wives or ex-wives having affairs with him that I arranged for them to join me on a Zoom call last night. We put a plan together to run Matthew out of town. I told them I expected that Matthew's ego would make him come after me, and I may need their help. They all made themselves available if I needed them. I also enlisted Paul across the street to use his wrecker trucks that I never thought it would happen so quickly. Especially with the shape Matthew was in. But then today, when you called, I texted the husbands and called my 2 best buddies, and you called the other 2. Then I called Paul, and he had his wrecker trucks come over to create a diversion by faking that they would tow off Matthew's guys' trucks. The complaint was that derelict vehicles were blocking his house. A brilliant idea Paul had that I went up into the attic and set up my sniper rifle with the muzzle silencer. I loaded it with a 5th-round clip of rubber bullets. I would be able to shoot all of them from here silently if I needed to. The wrecker trucks came, and a big argument started. It was a perfect time, so I took the opportunity to take out 3 of the men. Matthew was the first. I shot him in the right hip, and he crumbled. Then I shot the guy arguing with Paul in the upper back of the shoulder. Then, I shot another guy standing next to him, hitting him in the same spot. They both dropped to the ground like they were dead, but they had just passed out from shock and pain. The other 2 guys scrambled to their trucks and took off. That I called Matthew and gave him only a minute to get out of the neighborhood, or things would worsen. I also told Matthew that he was safe from the angry husbands until next Saturday, but after that, it would be open season for him, so he should move out of town. For added excitement, I shot out the windshields on the 3 trucks. And they all crawled in, keeping low, and drove away. So, Elaine, your little affair was not so innocent and has created other significant problems. Oh God, Al, I am so sorry for what I did. I had no idea Matthew was such an idiot. Elaine, from this moment forward, you must wipe Matthew out of your conscience, mind, and memory. His name will never be mentioned again unless it is to announce his death or disappearance, either of which could happen if he does not leave town by next Saturday. Dr. Wilson told me I needed to do the same thing, but now I could see the situation's urgency. I have to do it now. So, Elaine, tell me about your mom. You said you had something funny to tell me. And we could use a little humor right now. I thought it was odd that Alfonso wanted to talk about my mom, but yes, a little humor might be good now before we addressed the elephant in the room. Maybe he was trying to ease my concerns or make our conversation easier when we got there. Okay, Al, you will find this funny, I think. This morning, after we texted, my mom came to the door with coffee. My God, Alfonso, my mom has an incredible body. Then she sat beside me and told me about her new man. What? You're kidding, your mom has a man, a squeeze. Al laughed. Yes, his name is Eldred. He lives up the street and gets this, he is black. I don't care about that, but my God. Al. I am so happy for her. She was so excited she wanted to tell me about it, but I couldn't hear it, so I stopped her. Wow, Eldred has a hot woman on his hands. Al chimes in. We both laughed, lightening up the moment. But I knew it would only last a few seconds before the ugliness would start. After our laughter stopped, I saw a look of concern on Elaine's face. She knew the moment of truth was upon us. A sadness, almost gloom, settled on her. It was the moment of confession and explanation. Elaine, it is time. I need you to tell me what the good doctor has helped you with. Start wherever you want to, but leave nothing out, understand? Elaine looked at me and swallowed hard. First off, I need to tell you, Alfonso, that what I did had absolutely nothing to do with you or anything that you did or didn't do to or for me. You have been my perfect husband, and I love you so much. You did not deserve any of the pain I have put you through or any of the events that I have caused to happen and made you participate in. All of this is mine and Matthew's fault. So please do not blame yourself or feel bad about what you have done or will do. I beg your forgiveness, please. I love you so much. Elaine's statement sounded completely sincere, and I agreed with what she said. I knew that Elaine was remorseful. I also felt no guilt for what I had done to Matthew yesterday or today or anything that I might do to Matthew in the future should more activity be necessary. It seemed that the doctor had made a good start with Elaine. Now, what else had Elaine learned about herself? Elaine went on to tell me about both sessions she had with the doctor. She told me what Dr. Wilson had explained to her so that I was clear. Alfonso, Dr. Wilson explained that the perfect situation had occurred. Once that happened, neither of us could be denied the pleasure we could give each other. I thought back, and Al, no, I never had. I have also never been in a situation like yesterday. Alfonso, I know this is hard for you to hear, but it was true at that moment, nothing. My love for you or our marriage meant nothing. Elaine stopped and looked at me. I was shocked at what she had said. I am sure the doctor explained it this way, but hearing it in Elaine's graphic words and description was very hard. Chills ran through me. I felt sick, and I am sure I looked terrible. Alfonso, are you okay? You look terrible. Oh no, baby, have I gone too far? Are you okay? Have I told you too much? Suddenly, Elaine was terrified that what she told me was too much. No, no, what have I done? I snapped out of my daze and reached over to Elaine. She had her face in her hands and was crying. No, Elaine, it is okay. Just hearing your graphic description of what had happened emotionally is extremely hard to hear. I must hear it, but it is so hard. It makes me wonder if I can ever be what you need emotionally. I have my doubts after hearing what you have said. But you need to continue, please. I pulled Elaine to me and held her, letting her cry. Elaine, you have to finish this. I need to hear the rest of Dr. Wilson's talk. Please, let's get through this. Elaine pulled away and stood. She walked around and went to get her some water. She left the room, returned, sat, and drank the water. She looked at me with sad eyes. Elaine, I do not need to hear about what you and Matthew did. I already know that from hearing you for so many hours. I do need to hear how you and the doctor finished today. Then I have some things to say. I explained. Alfonso, I am so sorry for all of the pain I have caused you and the doubts you have in me. I want you to be clear about what happened with Matthew and that there is no way it could ever happen again. It was an emotional tsunami that just happened. I understand my body better now and could resist him or any other man and will forever. You are my man. Hearing her words and the conviction in her voice made me feel better. Elaine, what happened at your doctor's session today? Al, it was good. We reviewed yesterday's session, my feelings, and my understanding of what and why it happened. We went over some other issues that could affect us. I set appointments with the doctor for me for 2 months and 2 with her for you in the next 2 weeks that we talked about STDs. She said that Matthew may have infected me. And I needed to be tested. She said there was a clinic down the street from her office, so I stopped there on the way home and was tested. We will have the results in a few days. I am sad that you will not want to touch me until you know I am clean. I understand, but I want you badly, and now I can't have you. This is just another issue that resulted from my stupid decision. As I listened to Elaine, I was glad they had discussed these things, as they were a significant concern. I am glad that Elaine is going to continue sessions with Dr. Wilson and that she has made 2 appointments for me to talk through my issues and help us to put this incident in perspective so we can truly put it behind us. It was near dinner time, and I was hungry, a good sign. My angst was calming down. There was no rush tonight. It was my turn now. I needed to share my feelings and introduce the requirements for Elaine and me to remain married. I would start with a summation of my feelings. Elaine, I love you more than my life, so I will not divorce you. That was my choice, yet not my first option. I chose not to go in that direction but will share them with you. It was so devastating to me that I honestly wanted to walk out to my shop, get a shotgun from my gun safe, load it with deer shot, then walk to the bedroom door, turn on the light so you both would clearly see it was me. Your loving husband so devastated that I would empty 1 barrel into each of you, finishing your cheating lives. Then, in my utterly insane state of mind, I would pull out my Glock, put it to my head, and end my own life as well. It took every ounce of love and self-preservation in my body to resist that, or be what you need emotionally. I have my doubts after hearing what you have said. But you need to continue, please. I pulled Elaine to me and held her, letting her cry. Elaine, you have to finish this. I need to hear the rest of Dr. Wilson's talk. Please, let's get through this. Elaine pulled away and stood. She walked around and went to get her some water. She left the room, returned. Sat, and drank the water. She looked at me with sad eyes. Elaine, I do not need to hear about what you and Matthew did. I already know that from hearing you for so many hours. I do need to hear how you and the doctor finished today. Then I have some things to say. I explained. Alfonso, I am so sorry for all of the pain I have caused you and the doubts you have in me. I want you to be clear about what happened with Matthew and that there is no way it could ever happen again. It was an emotional tsunami that just happened. I understand my body better now and could resist him or any other man and will forever. You are my man. Hearing her words and the conviction in her voice made me feel better. Elaine, what happened at your doctor's session today? Al, it was good. We reviewed yesterday's session, my feelings, and my understanding of what and why it happened. We went over some other issues that could affect us. I set appointments with the doctor for me for 2 months and 2 with her for you in the next 2 weeks that we talked about STDs. She said that Matthew may have infected me, and I needed to be tested. She said there was a clinic down the street from her office, so I stopped there on the way home and was tested. We will have the results in a few days. I am sad that you will not want to touch me until you know I am clean. I understand, but I want you badly, and now I can't have you. This is just another issue that resulted from my stupid decision. As I listened to Elaine, I was glad they had discussed these things, as they were a significant concern. I am glad that Elaine is going to continue sessions with Dr. Wilson and that she has made 2 appointments for me to talk through my issues and help us to put this incident in perspective so we can truly put it behind us. It was near dinner time, and I was hungry, a good sign. My angst was calming down. There was no rush tonight. It was my turn now. I needed to share my feelings and introduce the requirements for Elaine and me to remain married. I would start with a summation of my feelings. Elaine. I love you more than my life, so I will not divorce you. That was my choice, yet not my first option. I chose not to go in that direction but will share them with you. It was so devastating to me that I honestly wanted to walk out to my shop, get a shotgun from my gun safe, load it with deer shot, then walk to the bedroom door, turn on the light so you both would clearly see it was me, your loving husband, so devastated that I would empty one barrel into each of you, finishing your cheating lives. Then, in my utterly insane state of mind, I would pull out my Glock, put it to my head, and end my own life as well. It took every ounce of love and self-preservation in my body to resist that desire. So, Elaine, like a scared wimp, I sat through all those hours while you were receiving and giving pleasure to another man. It wasn't very unpleasant, but I was not enough of a man to stand up for his wife to take her back away from the man. What kind of man am I? A nothing. I decided that if you wanted another man, you should have him, and I would leave your life and allow you to have the life you wanted, which did not include me, Elaine. That was the lowest I had ever felt in my entire life. The woman I loved no longer wanted me, so did I still want her? That question swam around for hours while I decided what to do. I stopped. Elaine was sitting there, her hands folded on the table. Tears were rolling down her face, and she looked in complete shock. She was breathing slowly, and her eyes were fixed on me. She had been ripped apart by what I had said. She deserved that and more. Elaine, I decided that I would destroy the man, not kill him, but hurt him in a way that would remain with him for the rest of his life. As for you, I did not know my plan that day, but I have that all worked out now. As you know, I acted when you came into the room that morning, and I hope I have damaged the man for life. The additional pain he received today and the wanting his demise if he does not leave town will be icing on the cake. Elaine, I love you, but the hurt you have put on me cannot just go away. It will take time, which will be painful for you and me. Our lives will never be the same. My love for you will never be as pure as it was. The trust one once had in you must be earned again over time. I stopped again. Elaine had not moved an inch. She was frozen where she sat. I continued. Elaine, I understand that you feel this was a one-off event, but how did you allow this to happen? The doctor may be correct, but if your love for me was as strong as you profess, my question is how? I do not understand. I know that you cannot answer that question. Maybe you can answer that question in 2 months after many sessions with Dr. Wilson. I hope so, because the answer may be critical to our long-term relationship. Elaine, look at me. Are you okay? You have not moved since I started talking. Yes, Alfonso, I am okay. I am trying to take in what you are saying to me, making sure that I understand what I have done to you and how badly I have hurt you. I cannot express the shame and disgust I feel for myself at this moment. Al, it is one thing to know why this all happened and that it may have been out of my control, but it is yet another thing to know that I may have permanently destroyed the true love and trust we have enjoyed. If I have done that, I don't know how to live with myself. Elaine slumped down, laid her head on her arms, and cried that it had become very intense, so it was time for a break. More painful things were coming. So a shower and dinner should be following. Elaine, are you hungry? I am. Let's order Chinese and take a hot shower together as we wait. Then we can eat and finish our talk. We love Chinese, so I knew the answer. I called Peking Wok Restaurant and ordered our regular order. It would be about 45 minutes before the food arrived, so I pulled Elaine down the hall and into the bathroom. I turned on the shower and looked at Elaine that I stood and walked out of the shower. I dried and put on lounging pants and a t-shirt. The doorbell, the food was here. I put it on the table, trying to quiet down my anger. She brought it up. I mumbled aloud. She should never have done that. I went to the fridge and poured a beer and a glass of wine. I sat at the table and waited for Elaine. She had not come out, and that worried me. What was she thinking? Elaine, come on, the food is getting cold, I called out. Minutes went by, and Elaine still had not come. I went to find her. Elaine, what are you doing? The food is getting cold. As I finished my words, I walked into the bedroom. Elaine was not there, but I heard the shower still running. I went into the bathroom, and Elaine was lying on the shower floor. The water was cold, and she was not moving. That I shut off the water, picked her up, and took her to bed. I grabbed some towels and dried her, rubbing and warming her up. Her eyes were open now but blank, showing nothing. Like she looked sitting at the table. But worse, she looked like she was in an actual catatonic state. Elaine, Elaine, wake up, baby, wake up. I lightly slapped her cheek, no response. Then I remembered I had some smelling salts in my med kit. I covered Elaine and ran to get my kit. That I opened the bottle and passed it under her nose. Suddenly, her head jerked up, and she gasped for air. Turning her head away from the potent smell, that I put the salt away and pulled her up into my arms. Elaine looked at me. What happened? I don't know. I left the shower. The Chinese food arrived, and I set the table and put out the food, expecting you to get dressed and come out behind me, but you didn't. I called you, but you didn't answer. I came to get you and found you on the floor in the shower. I tried to wake you up and finally used smelling salts. You sure woke up then. Are you okay? I had told her 95% of the truth. She would learn the rest later when she could handle it. Right now, I just wanted to warm her and get some food into her. Everything else could wait for now. I stood and stripped. I crawled into bed with Elaine, holding her body to me, wrapping as much of me around her as I could, feeding her my body heat. She felt cold against me, but feeling her body was beautiful. That we must have fallen asleep. Elaine moved and looked over at the alarm. 10:46 p.m. I was still holding Elaine like I was before. She was warm now. Then she began to shake and heard soft sobbing. And continue to. I remember what happened. I said the wrong thing, and you walked out, leaving me in the shower. At that moment, I just wanted to die. I have thrown away the love of my life and will never get him back. Her sobs grew stronger. That I held her, letting her vent her thoughts and release her emotions. I will be right back. I need to put the food away. I slipped out of bed, pulled on a robe, and went to clean up. That I walked back into the bedroom. Elaine was wrapped around my pillow, sleeping. I covered her with the sheets and a blanket and left her. The rest of the night would have to wait till tomorrow or until Elaine was in a better place. Part 4 coming.